Well, welcome back, everybody. Here we have a stream. We have a game of Call of Duty challenges for you folks at home to watch. We're jumping in mid-series between UYU and 18 and Cracked. The latter of which, Andy, they just took a very close hard point, 250 to 236.
Yep, it was on Tuscan Hardpoint too. That's how you know it was going to be incredibly close. As soon as we hop in, the round will be over here. 18 and Cracked will continue on with their merry way of being able to take at least an advantage, and it's going to be an interesting one to say the least, Brody. The way that we're going to be framing up this entire matchup for 18 and Cracked, walking away from their matchups yesterday, you almost feel like that this has to be a must-win, considering that they lost both Whatever It Takes and Texas Nation. Starting off with 2 rounds in the back pocket of both Assault and Seed, well, it's not looking too bad.
It's certainly going to be one of their tougher matches, I think, overall, right, for UYU. You got to remember, folks, that, again, these are 2 top 4 teams, and there is exactly why you get snipes like that from Exceed. Unfortunately, it is nothing but a scratch towards that player of which it will hit. And, well, now, Shawnee going to draw the first blood here in this round. Well, it's all falling apart, isn't it, for UYU? It is just down to Phantoms left up in a 1 versus 3. And he will pick up 1, but the bomb's going down here, Andy.
It just comes down to being able to find the timing right. I don't even know if he actually ended up seeing Shawnee cross over by the docks. And judging off of their positioning, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So the second that Timmy ends up going back over, almost ended up having a snap. That would have been insane, but damage advantage would have been there for Shawnee. And, of course, then you had Salt inside of the B hut itself. But, yeah, 18 and Cracked again through all of the instigation that was happening through the middle of the map. Are able to not only work for a lot of these first bloods, but are able to maintain their lives, and that is just, of course, when it comes down to search and destroy, one of the key fundamentals that you're mostly going to be looking for. Assault still on 2. Johnny able to find 2 in that round as well. Most importantly, they're enforcing their hand when it comes down to the middle of the map pressure and just not allowing UIU to get away with much positioning at all.
18 and Cracked here. On the defense, they've already sent Classic and Shawnee towards the site. Jinchoid, his spidey senses are tingling, and Shawnee will be taken down. So now it is literally just Classic over here. What can he do about this one? Going to wait for a second. Thinks that there might be more players around. He would be correct, of course. But at the very least, Andy, he has walked away with that first blood.
Well, Classic might actually get some really good timing. Be able to read that the push is going to come through the opposite side. Down to Jintroid. Comer here for UYU. Doesn't fully check the corner. Classic gets the better of him. Absolutely pounces on it. And the bomb's trapped on the top side of that staircase. Classic will be traded, so now we're in a 2v2.
Oh, Exceed takes the head of Phantoms as well. Now Rex, 1 versus 2. Numbers definitely not in his favor. The bomb in no man's land. Rex has to land this nade in a good position. Actually just uses it as kind of a smoke cover, if you will. But Exceed's sniper rifle is a little bit better. And it's not really a surprise, is it? A Kar 98K at that range, Andy. It's probably going to win the fight 90% of the time.
Oh, more than likely, yeah. I think it's just, again, how good Exceed has honestly been for this team. When you're thinking about the 18 and Cracked players, especially in recency, ever since the Call of Duty League has become franchise, became the CDL, working away from CWL, you have 3X pros. Well, I guess now you have technically 1 bench pro now on this team, as Classic is that 5th player for the Seattle Surge, and all of them are just trying to find their way back on in, and I think this is a really good showing for Exceed being the main slayer for their team. We'll end up seeing 1 player cross at the very least. I don't know, holding the ADS in with that, if they ended up seeing the 2nd player cross as well, but regardless, it will not dissuade the rest of the 18 Cracked players trying to make the move on towards the A site.
Well, Classic gets the information as to where Phantoms is. Just going to dip away for the second. Of course, Shawnee going to be the purveyor of that information. We'll try to act on it. Unfortunately, the enforcement will not work out. He will end up falling. And now 18 and Cracked find themselves at a disadvantage for perhaps the first time in this search and destroy. Quick reactions, though, from Classic to trade things out. Nicely done from UYU to trade right back. And quickly, the Dominator fallen in this round. Assault left up all on his lonesome over towards Columns. We'll have some idea as to where he is. The shots ringing out, and he will not reign true. UYU, they're on the board.
We'll be on the board, and finally Assault, who was sitting on those 2 kills ever since the very first round, will finally be dealt with, as Rex will just fully bunny hop his way, making Assault think that he was going to be tight around the corner, just was a little bit too wide. And it's just interesting, again, when you're an Exceed in that position, you try to go for that initial shot. It would have been a big first blood to be able to find for themselves, but I don't think that they were able to at least read that there was a 2nd player that crossed back over, and that was the immediate go-ahead for 18 and Cracked to try to commit their way over towards that A bomb. And the moment that they end up having the read on the Phantoms, all the spam shots that was coming through from those window sides inside the concourse, not expecting Johnny to bust through the door and be able to get that first blood and force their hand. Got to be able to take an offense here for UIU. Going to be looking like a B committal for the time being. Now, some shots were thrown from Exceed. I know the sniper's on a play at least through this round, but 2 players will be watching this B lane regardless.
These players at the moment Just trying to get a feel for each other. Classic going to push pretty far up here. The defense. Thinks that somebody might have made their way over into the mailroom. Wrong. Train station now for UYU. This is where they want to take the bomb. Going to have to get through Shawnee if they want to get it done. The shots do come through. Bait and switch, though, is done perfectly for Gintroid here, but cooking up an aid is Shawnee. This should land right at the lap of Gintroid if Classic doesn't take him out anyway. And now for 18 and cracked. How about this for a positive situation? UYU, the bomb is down on A. They are all down to Phantoms. 1 versus 3. This round might well be done. 20 seconds left. Even if he gets his kill on a Shawnee, it's so tough.
So has to recover that bad boy and try to go for the plant. Won't end up being the case at all. And we didn't obviously have our preamble. We were trying to get the stream back. Thank you all for your patience on that one. But I think, again, what you're mostly going to be watching for when it comes down to this 18 and crack player, they don't exactly have one of those, like, breakout players. Like, when we talk about UIU, we're like, oh, man, Johnny is absolutely twisted. But when we talk about this 18 and crack team, nobody really stands out over the other one. Yes, Classic is having a massive game, 7-3, Exceed right behind them at 6-2. But this team of ex-pros just play really sound and fundamental Call of Duty. And that goes across all 3 game modes. You can see it in all their setups and their executes as well. We'll see if it happens here throughout their B execute as well. Working for the timing, Classic is going to end up getting the cross. Try to work their way inside of the B hut. This really comes down to Detroit to try to erupt this play, but as soon as Classic throws the shoulder, the switch might be in from the long range. It will be from Assault, but Rex will be able to find that first blood regardless.
Now, Classic, if you can get this bomb down, it would be big. Of course, the numbers for UIU will mean very little if they have the power positioning towards the backline. It's tough to take it, even with the numbers in your favor. But UIU going to have to attempt this now. Classic on the other side of this door. Going to be dealing with the power of Phantoms and Rex pretty soon. And now it is Assault left up in a 1 versus 3. Well, it was a good attempt to try and outplay Johnny there in the situation, but it's just not going to work.
It was really like a 1v2 over there. It was Assault versus the door and Johnny on the opposite side of the door. And like, you could even say the same from the opposite side. It's just, having the Automaton versus the MP41 has a little bit better of a hip fire. And as soon as Johnny just breaks on through the door, Assault just could not spin around in time. Was more focused on the clock and the timing to go check that bomb. And a 1v3, that was really the only win condition going forward for itself. But as it was all manifesting, the initial first blood that ends up coming through, Rex was top fire, ends up finding that first blood through the middle of the map, and then from there on out, that Johnny's going to be able to commit to the flank, knowing that even if the bomb goes down, the big ace up the sleeve of 18 to crack would have been that player in the warehouse. So now UIU, got to be able to convert this offensive round. You're still down by 2, so rounds in sequence of one another is going to be your ticket to being able to make things even. And what the angle, Johnny, nice shots onto Exceed for first.
Nicely done from Johnny. That's very important as well, because now UIU, they've got the space to get the bomb down onto B. Even better as Phantoms lands an aid right at the feet of Classic. 4 versus 2 for Assault and Shawnee. This is going to be a tough one for sure. Assault now the last man left up standing. He is going to get that first kill against Phantoms. Of course, the big problem here, though, is the fact that at the end of the day, as soon as that first kill comes through, now he kind of has to play information. Do not give any away towards UIU. Do what damage you can here. Going to reposition towards fire. On his left is Johnny. You've got to imagine here, as soon as Assault runs out into the open, somebody will see him? Or is he going to be very lucky here, like a blind man crossing the road? Somehow he will survive. Soul, there you go, finally getting shot in the back. And, well, he did a little bit of damage there in that 1 versus 4, but not enough.
It's just all off of the first blood, right? I mean, the moment that you end up finding that first kill from Johnny's perspective, it opens up all the docks. You can plant the bomb for free, and then from there on out, you're in control of all the B lane. And where Johnny was posted up at, you had a lot of possession for UIU through the middle of the map as a whole. You knew where the rotations were obviously going to be coming from. You're just basically funneling them on the very long flank as Johnny is able to walk away now on 4 in a row through multiple rounds. Potential to play for streaks are absolutely there as UIU are still down by 1. Johnny's going to take this barrel angle, and I don't think that they ended up seeing Phantoms cross over there. It would be a very gut check call. And judging off of how they are still committing over towards the Ace side, I would probably argue not. But last time they were over here, did find success. The way that UIU were playing this defensively, Phantoms gave up all of the space for the time being, trying to find the timing to burst through the door and try to stop the bomb play from going down.
Classic's going to get this down. I think anybody from UIU is going to put a stop to this one. Classic does end up falling, so at least there's some good news here for UIU as their approach towards the bomb site will continue. Exceed's pushed all the way back here. UIU They acquired the bomb site, now looking to get control of train station as well. Exceed over towards these steps, has quite a lot to do, can't really do any of it. Jintroid picks up 2, now Shawnee in the 1 versus 3. Doesn't even get the second kill. Crucially, even though this is a great retake from UYU, Johnny is stopped off that 4 spree.
I was almost expecting for you to say it, Brody. It's 3 rounds on the Browns.
I'm sorry. I've let you down.
You really
let
have.
everybody down.
You really have. I was waiting for it. I even gave you about like 2.5, maybe 3 seconds after your call. I thought you were going to say it, but even still, yeah, 3 rounds in a row now for UYU. I said that they had to win multiple rounds in sequence if they want to be able to make this competitive, and their teamwork is coming alive. Look, when it came down to UYU, when Scrappy was still playing with this team, now, of course, playing with Jintroid, they were a 2-3-5 team. Their search and shroud was always better than their hardpoint. And that was pretty prevalent throughout the entirety of Season 1, and you're getting to see why. Rex now, with the Kar 98K, ended up seeing at least one player cross through the upper courtyard. And from the timing alone, you know that you should feel comfortable enough to be able to get this B-Hut in your favor. But Jintroid, seeing those doors pop back open, knows that there's got to be at least one player over here. The nade won't connect. They might actually take this as an opportunity to try to re-wrap back, maybe thinking that they got the bait play of calling 18 and Crack out to try to rotate back over to reinforce the B site.
I don't think Classic knows what's coming to him, to be honest. He's about to face down a wave of UYU players crashing down upon him. And his only real advantage here is the fact that they do not know exactly where he is. If he plays this correctly, with the good timing, he should be able to get the drop onto these players. And there's the first one. Can he get anything else? The reaction hasn't been in just yet from Johnny. There it is. Even better, Johnny picks up a second one as well to boot. And now, the 3 versus 2. Make it a 1 versus 2 as Exceed lands a nade at the feet of Johnny, by the way. Rex now 1v2 with a sniper rifle, whiffs the shot. And that, would anything, have been the opportunity to equalize in this 1v2. Now with 15 seconds left, you've got to imagine as soon as his first kill comes through, that 18 and Crack will not give anything else away. And there it is. Exceed even gets a little bit aggressive. That might have proven a mistake, but doesn't matter anyway.
Exceed throw that nade had to come through the window of the statue side. Because then they found the first, technically the first, before the nade actually exploded over inside of the office, found the first over on the exit of the concourse towards the middle of the map. That's just 5 head plays coming out from Exceed. Now finding themselves on 3, 9 and 5 for them. Classic just shortly behind them at 9 and 7. Surly been suppressed, but 1 round away for 18 and Crack to punch a ticket to be up 2-0 in the series, and they are barreling their way over towards this B site. Can Exceed cross? Yes, they can, but they are so weak, and as soon as Johnny tries to peek through the window, he will be first blooded by Classic.
As this bomb goes down, Jintroid, I guess that first kill, but doesn't get away. That is crucial. The bomb, though, is still down. Now we find ourselves in a mirror of the earlier situation that we saw. UYU got to try and find their way into this of a 2 versus 3. The problem is, of course, you look at the positioning of Exceed, Shawnee and Salt here. They are highly split up in this position. Rex and Phantoms have to look in every single corner, and even then, the first gunfight doesn't go Rex's way. Phantoms kind of lost on an island there in that 1 versus 3. And 18 and Crack will close things out, but it looked a little bit shaky there in the mid-game.
It really did, but even shakier for UYU at the beginning of the Search and Destroy, Brody. I mean, they were getting away with highway robbery where 18 and Crack, just their aggressive nature, being able to completely concede the space, not aggressively forcing their hand inside of the B hut, but they were putting themselves in the middle of the map continuously, trying to put themselves in a position where they were constantly watching all these cross angles, knowing that there were players trying to go for the plant. If you're that island player over by the docks, you can find the timing through that window of the B hut to be able to try to cut that player down as they are trying to go for that bomb plant. But because it was always being watched in the cross, and you're going to get absolutely eviscerated the moment that you try, much like how you saw what happened to Jintroid there, it just comes down to the timing, the pacing, the fundamental skill that is this 18 and Crack team that really just sets them a few paces high from a lot of other teams.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well. I don't think people quite realize how important that map was. We'll talk about why in just a second. Before we do that, let's take a look at the stat lines here. 18 and Crack, standout players, Exceed 11 and 5, Classic 10 and 8. 7 of those kills, by the way, from Exceed. non-traded, just incredible from him. 5 of those first bloods as well. Beautifully done by 18 and cracked there in that search and destroy. Now, back to the point here about why S&D is so important in this series. You know, again, we didn't really get the chance to preamble overall here between UIU and 18 and crap, but it is important to note, regardless of the fact that we've seen the roster change, regardless of the fact that Gintroid has come into this team, they were the best S&D team last season. UIU, statistically speaking, they were, 68.75 win percentage in Search and Destroy in North America in Season 1. Of course, that, at the end of the day, was with Scrappy, but nonetheless, I mean, that's a big map to lose.
Their claim to fame, especially through Season 1, Brody, it was all off of the back end of being more than adept at winning 2, 3, and 5. And you put a lot of risk, obviously, on being a 2-3-5 team. But I mean, at the time when Mystic was coaching this team, he really made sure that they understood that they couldn't just be a search and destroy team. Their hard point at the end of the season became a mainstay for them, and they were able to take that map number 1 and then could reliably close out 2 and 3, giving themselves obviously a better look to being able to close out 4 rather than 5. Because when they were going up against teams like Texas Nation at the tail end of the season, that entire roster was just so good at being able to make sure that their hard points and their controls were constantly always going to be close. And I think even more so than that as well is that when you're looking at the search and destroy for UIU, it completely gets thrown up in the air now, because now you don't have Scrappy. You even saw it was Rex that pulled out the sniper when Scrappy was here. Obviously, if you have not seen a match from Ultra Academy so far, Scrappy is still sniping, and that really does throw a certain mix into the blender for UIU about how this team might actually be coordinating with one another. We know that Johnny's cracked, can do it with both the Automaton and the MP40. They'd probably snipe if they really wanted to, but that's not the good dynamic for this team. You're more or less trying to maintain that if you are Rex, and just try to enable both Gintroid and Johnny to be able to fulfill that role, to be up in the enemy's face, to be able to find these kills. Johnny was able to do it a handful of times, but Gintroid feeling a little bit more disjointed on going 1-for-1 in certain instances of time. It was just a little bit too late to be able to fish out those first bloods. At that point in time, they've already lost at least one player.
Yeah, and I think the reverse sweep now, it kind of feels like a mile off, right? Because not only have they now lost the Search and Destroy, which, you know, you and I said, again, in what we would have preambled before we got into the series, that needs to be a map that they win, of course, in the prospective 2-3-5 victory. Even worse now, we go into a Gavutu control. Now, in Season 1, I would have said, hey, look, for UIU, they would be a pretty good team. They were 4-2 in this map mode combination. It was their best control map out of the 2 that we have available. In Vanguard, yesterday, they did not do well on Gavutu, though. They lost themselves. They lost both controls, yesterday. It doesn't look great, does it? Even despite the fact that they managed to 3-0-8 and cracked on this map mode combination the last time these two teams faced off.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that throws a lot of speculation into what this team of UIU might honestly look like on control going forward. It's going to constantly be the question. Look, we talked about it earlier with whatever it takes and what Pentagram might look slotted into that team. And speaking of Scrappy, well, he's on your screen now. Round 5, Ultra Academy versus Bearclaw Esports, tied up 1 apiece. Big swing map mode coming through. It's going to be Bearclaw Esports on offense first and foremost. And it was actually this map, not the mode, that Chris Radio just earlier today dropped a 50 bomb on the control itself. Bearclaw are going to be putting themselves in a position to constantly get a lot more eyes on them, but to be able to win an offense would be a hefty feat, to say the least. But the opening break will look good for them, Brody. They should be able to get this A zone and extend the clock.
I'm so glad you talked about Radial, because, you know, we were actually having this discussion earlier on, right? And it was actually in regards to, you know, players like Ghosty, Johnny, Scrappy. There is a conversation to be had about the Challengers Rookie of the Year, as it were, right? And Radial has definitely put his name out there for that title very early on here. Of course, not having the best of games right now, though, 19 and 33. If he can start to step things up, Bearclaw might well find their form as they did earlier on versus UIU. To get take down 2 Titans in one day, that would be quite something, I think, for Bearclaw Esports. And right now, doing a good job of it on the approach towards B. Fortunately, they have to be careful from behind, but Vickle does actually get sniffed out. Not any progression for him. Bearclaw Esports still on this point as well. Welly gonna sniff out Hixie on the flank. And now for Bearclaw Esports, there is a legitimate opportunity here as Noisy pushes up all the way for the spawn for them to get some progress, but nobody else is here. As Noisy falls, Welly kind of has to take his place.
Yeah, and he does indeed start to do that. I mean, from there on out, you're mostly just hoping that the reinforcements can get here a little bit quicker. Chris Radio is just a few notches away from making that play little bit stronger, and now the space has to at least be given up. As they actually aren't too far gone, and while all that time was being utilized to try to convert and sequence both the A and the B zone together, Academy might have themselves an opportunity to be able to win this defense. They're only down by 2 lives. Scrappy finding that first one on the radial should stop this offense ever so slightly, and they're still actually committing to it. And while they are, I mean, Hixie just absolutely puts them on their backs. Now we're even up 15 apiece. Bear Claw Esports back to the drawing board.
Bear Claw Esports here, I think they know how desperate this situation is. You've got to go through Scrap, though. And yep, this is going to be tough, isn't it? Scrappy Ultra going down that grass area. He'll only get one before falling, but the information infinitely more valuable, isn't it? As Bear Claw Esports now, the element of surprise has gone out the window and found its way onto another map somewhere in Vanguard. Exotic able to get one on the trade. Wizzy will end up falling, so it is now just Exotic and Welly in this backline as Radial tries to find his way through Radio, and he will be shut down. Perhaps Bearclaw here with the disjointed attack might be able to put something together. They almost did last time around, but with 30 seconds left on the clock here, Andy, it basically needs to happen now. Noisy, the last remaining player onto the point. How much time can he waste? And I think at this point, it's not even about time wasting. It's about causing some serious issues. I don't know if you could do it.
Noisy has the finesse. Would have been a big one to be able to take down Mohawk on the zone itself. We got Welly in the back. Look, 12 seconds remaining. This is a big kill to be able to be found. Now you have to push if you are Radial.
Okay.
And Welly finds a second in the back. So now you got yourself a little bit of coordinated pinch. Now the respawns need to pick up top Radio. If you're able to get in this position, this is very much so doable. But as soon as the kills start to come through, Hixie's going to start to clean things up. I don't think Exotic's going to be able to make this play happen. They find the first. Gonna have a good look at the second. They do find it. Block his immediate adversary. As Ultra Academy will be able to close it out. And I mean, let's go like it is, right, Brody? I mean, Ultra Academy barely get by the hair on their chins to be able to get themselves that round 5 control win. And after losing the hard point the way that they did in blistering fashion, they'll take a 2-1 lead in that series.
Indeed they will. We're going to turn attention over towards 18 and Cracked and UIU now. Of course, UIU backs against the wall. They 3-0'd 18 and Cracked previously on this map mode combination. That was during the round robin stage of Season 1. And they do it again here. Well, it's a good kill from Phantoms to protect B for now. And this is what you really want to avoid, I think, if you are UIU here on the defense. You don't want to let any players slip the net and make their way over towards B.
And winning off the opening break like that, look, they're fully reading that 18 to Crack. They're trying to push back over towards B. They get that first tick of progress, but if you're Rex, I mean, you got to go at this point. You got to be able to formulate some sort of pinch, cut down the players in the middle of the map. They're only able to go 1-for-1, and their teammates could have used that help quite some time ago. It would have given them so much more map positioning. We're down to 15 seconds, though. UIU are finally able to get the kills necessary to start that clock to dwindle down.
Well, look, this isn't the worst position in the world to be in. You know, we've seen teams being able to capture A in the last few moments, but as I say that, Assault and Exceed, they will end up falling. Classic at this point, I think, is just trying to damage the lives. Because right now, this has been a brilliant round for UIU. Classic, can he get any more? Just barrels towards Phantoms. I believe that is 8 or 9 lives, the difference between the two teams there towards the end. UIU, they will be content with that. And Andy, I'm sure you and I will be keeping an eagle eye on the lives moving.
Oh, I'm writing it down as we speak. And so, I mean, UIU holding on to that 9-life lead, it could be major implications for when it comes down to a round 5 defense. Again, that overall tick progression change won't be coming through for a few more weeks here in Vanguard. We're going to be playing off of the full elims to decide that round 5. And this is what UIU were so good at when it came down to Season 1. It just comes down to Ken Jintroid. He slotted in for what we knew that Scrappy was also bringing to the table. 1-for-1. This is going to be the start across the ring. You still have presence across the north side of the beach. And with Jintroid actually finding one player on the backside of that boat, he can actually put himself on the B zone early to stop the clock.
Phantoms, he will end up falling. And Shawnee does pick up 2 on the point. So that push, it would have been nice, wouldn't it, for UIU to make it happen. But as I was saying, it's not the worst thing in the world right now. They can make their way over towards A. They've got an attempt here on towards the point. Jintroid able to pick up 1. The progression will start to come through.
It will start to come through. They have top LSD control. Jintroid would have loved to be able to get up closer towards those barrels because the back green control for 18 and Crack is going to be the catalyst for a superior position to be able to deal with the players across the A zone. And now they can work themselves a little bit of a spawn trap.
This is not the position that I think UIU did want to be in. They were very close to making their way on towards A. Now, though, They have to face down Assault, and that's where you can kind of see Johnny pivoting towards this side of the map. They know that if they can get rid of Assault, a lane might open up to make their way over towards B. Instead, Johnny might well opt to come and assist his team on towards A. 13 seconds left. I think this now is their best chance here in this round. The kill feed lighting up white to Shawnee. Oh my goodness me, this is the Flying Scotsman in full force at the moment. You do not want to get hit by this man. As, well, 0.7 seconds left on the clock or so. Classic could well try and stop this push. A couple of players desperately holding on to this round. It is just the one now. Exceed with the set nade and the automaton shot will close up shot. An 18 and crack. They answer back with the life advantage that we saw in round number 1.
Yeah, just by 7, though. So UIU is still going to be able to hold that lead for the time being. It does come down to it. Give themselves a really good look at that B zone. It's just unfortunate to say that the players trying to resurface themselves to the middle of the map just simply could not get back over towards Green as they were getting gunned by automatons galore from the top side of Green and all over by the P3 area in general. So now, another offense store for 18 and crack. Not going to get too weird with it. Going to go towards this 8 zone first and foremost and Exceed. Almost snaps on a Johnny. Wasn't even required. Johnny is going to be up top on LST, and the coverage is immaculate. This is a flawless start for 18 and crack to look at this A zone early.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound like a mobile phone commercial advert, but the coverage is, as you say, immaculate as UIU at the moment really starting to feel the pressure. Classic pushing his way up all the way into Green, and it's just a distraction that UIU really don't need at the moment, to be honest. 18 and crack have done a splendid job of making their way onto the point and causing all sorts of issues for UIU right out of the gate. I think now, just one player left up to potentially deal with this. Rex going to try and challenge from the mid-map. Exceed actually gets hit with an nade at the same time, so that would mean that Exceed is blinded for a moment, but it isn't enough here for UIU to stop the capture of the point. A will fall by the wayside now. 18 and crack, they've got a whole 2 minutes to try and make their way over towards B, but look at this spawn trap now that UIU have set up.
Yeah, you got Phantoms and Gintroid over here right now, trying to wait for these players to try to resurface themselves. Set nades are starting to come out from the spawn from 18 and crack to try to buy themselves some space, and the Flying Scotsman comes back. Shawnee is going to be able to find the head of Gintroid, but you still have Phantoms over here, and I don't think Shawnee's going to be aware of this. The Phantoms reposition themselves. We'll take them down. And so long as Phantoms still finds those isolated engagements, that's going to slow up the push considerably. But the issue is that UIU don't have anybody in the immediate position in the top side of Green to worry about the players up top LST. That's going to give yourself a great position to try to open up the floodgates middle of the map to try to get a positional advantage for 18 and crack to try to get over towards the B zone.
That's so funny, by the way. Assault just spent so many bullets trying to take down the barrier. A stun is thrown his way, and the barrier right next to it gets taken down. Sometimes you put in a lot of effort, someone comes and does the job a little bit better. But Assault now looking down the L trigger, of course. Gintroid and Rex are in his line of sight. Assault's just going to have to back away for now. Doesn't really have the help here from his teammates here. We're all trying to approach that LST or the mid side of the map. Assault trying to desperately hold on towards the anti-air gun, but will not be able to. That power position has been given up towards UIU. I think 18 and crack now might be thinking about trying to make their way in from behind. With 50 seconds left here, though, Andy, there's not really much time to make this one work. UIU getting some kills in their favor. It does just kind of leave Classic and Exceed in a bit of an awkward situation here.
And now we reach this sort of impasse, right? Do 18 and crack try to throw a lot of lives to try to get this B zone and win an offensive round? Or do you just try to maintain a resemblance of a life lead? Well, it's going to be gone now. 27 seconds. You got Shawnee atop LSC to try to find some of these kills. Would be big to say the least because they are still technically down as far as overall eliminations comparatively to their adversaries.
Yeah, it's -3 right now, I believe, is what it is. Now -4, of course, as UIU going to continue to hold on to their lead. At this point, yeah, I think it is just a round 5 play at this point. Shawnee is actually going to advance here. I don't think this is necessarily to do anything on the point itself, though, if only to just apply the pressure so that the team spawns further towards the back line and that you can maybe catch a couple off guard. That is good decision-making, I think, from 18 and Cracked. I know, obviously, there's always a little bit of criticism about the fact that we do currently have round number 5 decided by lives, but these teams, they know how to play it.
Oh, it's absolutely the smart call. Look, when it comes down to Gavutsu, much more difficult to be able to convert an offensive round. You have to be very coordinated to try to make that type of play happen. And as it does stand, it is still a +3 lead for UIU on the offense. So don't be utterly surprised if UIU falter on a few of their advanced pushes. They'll probably end up just slightly waiting. Yeah, that's kind of awkward in Detroit, and lost all his momentum. He's not a linebacker. Not be busting through there. Rex opens up 2 to start. Phantoms will find the 3rd. That should open things up to try to work their way over towards the B zone. The biggest issue is that you still have to deal with Assault, which Jintroy does in kind. Very similar look at what UIU had through their previous offense, and they might just try to stack this a little bit to at least get a first tick of progress.
And even worse as well, right? You can feel the pressure over towards A as Rex wins the 1v1. Phantoms with another one in the cut as well. I tell you what, Andy, this is looking a little bit shaky if you're 18 and cracked. You're losing a ton of lives here right out of the gate. Classic, can he put a stop to this capture? They're playing Ring Around the Rosie on the rock, but Classic will finally deal with it, and B does not fall by the wayside. But how about that for a swing and a hit in the opening of this one? 2 ticks of progression over towards B done.
5 life lead. Going forward for UIU in this offense, so you're going to be feeling pretty darn skippy of yourself. You're going to move your way over towards A, knowing that you at least still had Rex up on top LST. Classic through the cut. It's going to be at least having a good look. We'll find Johnny, but Rex is still working on this streak currently. He's able to get a glide bomb here. It would be absolutely massive, but no one's going to read that Classic is constantly repositioning themselves, looking to cut down these players. Even does it with the MP40. Now they can look over towards the zone to try to stop this capture, but Phantoms will find 2. The capture is still on.
Yeah, and this is the concerning thing, right? In any regular situation here, if you're 18 and cracked, kind of just give up this point. I think they're going to anyway. But you've got this playing on your mind now, right? B has effectively fallen already. 2 ticks of progression have gone the way of UIU. Now they have almost 2 whole minutes to get 1 tick. They could just stack the point and be perfectly fine. It's the phrase that I know many people do tire of hearing, but this will need to be a flawless defense here from 18 and cracked, and you don't really have the lives to make this one work. It needs to be something special from the top ropes, from this 18 and cracked roster here. Can they get it done? Classic only able to pick up 1, and the pressure really starting to mount. There's a problem in the backline as well. That is going to be Rex, who wants to cause some issues. He is taken down, but here is ultimately the issue. You've given up the front line. Of course, Jintroid and Phantoms will make this one work. They're on the point. Assault, you can't dilly-dally around it, buddy. You need to get on the point. UIU going to win this one 3-1.
Look, and it's one of those things, again, when we talk about UIU Season 1 comparatively to where they are now, their Gavutu control was, bar none, the best that we had in Challengers. Across both regions, between North America and Europe, across the Elite, their Gavutu Assault was so good on being able to recognize when they had an advantage, finding these positional advantages to be able to put themselves in a position to be able to get themselves in a favorable spot to do one thing and one thing only. In Control, your mind is not only just slated on trying to find those eliminations, but to stop that clock. You load into each round. You have 2 minutes to try to convert that into your favor, but extending the clock for the extra 60 seconds is one thing, Brody. To be able to put yourself in a position to be able to always stall out that clock and continuously find yourself those eliminations to then put the pressure onto the enemy team that they have to get you off of that B zone. That's what UIU did so well through their previous 2 offenses, always baiting out 18 and cracks positioning and finding all the kills to boot.
Yeah, look, I mean, sometimes it is just a risk, right? When you see these teams make their way over towards B, you can give up so much of the round, but for UIU, it works out. They're flawlessly able to control it, and you can see that there in the stat lines towards the end. Look at Phantoms, right? We were talking about his AR prowess in this series. He is one of the best ARs from Season 1 in North America. He finished there with a 1.08 KD. In this one, 22-12 is his scoreline. I think more importantly here, 18 of those kills were non-traded, by the way. That's what happens, I think, when you've got a main AR on Gavutu, generally speaking. You know, I think Phantom's definitely a key reason why they're able to win that there. Of course, the rest of the squad definitely played their part or so. But I believe we're about to get into Bear Claw versus Ultra Academy here. Of course, we did check in with these teams in that round number 5 of Tuscan Control. We're returning to Tuscan for the hard point here in Bear Claw Resports. They're looking to force this game 5.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Ultra Academy were very frustrated when they ended up losing that Berlin hard point to Bear Claw. That ended 250-28 in Bear Claw's favor, but you have a little bit of an opportunity for SMGs to absolutely force their hand, and it was this map mode earlier for Bear Claw. This was on the mainstream versus UIU on Tuscan Control, excuse me, that Bear Claw's first radial dropped a total of 50 kills. You know they're going to be feeling right at home here as they go in towards P2, so a lot of time to be battling over. Bear Claw are keeping things mixy, knowing that Ultra is still in the back.
Yeah, you got to make sure you remove these players here from the back line. Although, to be fair, it's not the worst thing in the world if they do just stay there, right? Because you've got to think about that rotation that will be coming very soon. Right. That being said, Hixie and Vickle going to combine for 3 here, make it 4 as Exotic will end up falling. Ultra Academy will hold that last 20 seconds of time. But this is what we were talking about, right, Andy? You know, Bear Claw, they lose this so what? In a way, it's scrap time. They've got the rotation.
Yeah, exactly. And they're essentially going to be spawning over by rooftops and over by vines. It's exactly what ends up happening. And now Ultra Academy have to rotate across the entirety of the map. Going to be looking for a lot of middle of the map pressure. Going to be Vickle, who's inside of P5 for the time being. You also have Relly looking for a couple of rotational gunfights. And as soon as Vickle ends up taking down Welly, coming back in from the patio, it gets immediately picked up by Radial. And now you're looking at a very one-dimensional hit coming through from Ultra Academy out from Vines. They find the first, and then they're going to be able to clean up the rest of them. Would have been a big one, but Radial shuts it back down. And they have some reinforcements to put themselves in a position to try to keep P3 in their favor.
Well, Scrappy gets a little bit venomous there towards the back line. Will take out Welly before falling. So, Ultra Academy here, they do momentarily find their way in, but it is all but a moment here. Noisy in from behind. This will turn the attention of Hixie behind him. Noisy, can he play his life? No, he cannot. Nicely done from Hixie there to find 3 on the bounce, as Ultra Academy will find their way in for what will prove a valuable 15 seconds. But it is once again Bearclaw Esports on the rotation. They need to hold on here. They should spawn out over towards grass. This is okay for Bearclaw. It's Noisy in the back line, who might have an idea that these players will be coming in from behind. Bickle on a 2 spree will end up falling. What can Noisy do? Able to pick up 1. Turns around for grass for the second as well. Nicely done from Noisy. That is good game sense to take that second player out. And Bearclaw, well, they will be challenged, but they'll be up for it for now.
Yeah, it's 15 seconds off of P2. They battle and contest for P3, and they get the back 15 there. But Bearclaw are constantly setting themselves up for the initial time, and they're quite literally running away with it now. They're keeping their heads on the swivel inside of P4. The hit is coming through from the front, the side door, and every other little area that you could possibly imagine inside a church, and they all deal with it in kind. It's Welly last alive. They're on a 3 spree. 20 seconds left, and you know Ultra Academy have to battle through it.
Hixie just staring at the door for a second there. Noisy's like, buddy, I'm just going to take you out from behind. That's a free kill. Thank you very much, Exotic. Now, Winside will only provide assistance to Welly, who now finds himself on his 6 in a row. The glide bomb was denied there by Hixie, so no streak in for Bearclaw Esports. That would have probably been the closer on this game. You've got to remember that we're very likely going to go towards a P1 here. That being said, Bearclaw Esports, they want to end it on the command center hardpoint. They might well have the opportunity to do so. Players going to be spawning out over towards column side. This should present an opportunity here for Ultra Academy to find their way in. Nice reposition from Radial, though, towards Fountain. How venomous is this from Radial? 3 in a row. They want to get this last 25 seconds now. I don't know if Ultra Academy are going to put a stop to this one.
No, I don't think that they're going to be able to do it. The kills are coming through. Vickle, Rat into the MP40. He's able to break on in. Flawlessly is what Ultra Academy are going to be looking at when it comes down to 5 into 1. They're stacking inside of P5, and it's a little bit easier for Bearclaw to almost surround themselves, but Scrappy's able to find 2 on the rotation. They get cut down in the middle of the map, and you also have players still trying to hit for the scrap time. This might be a little bit of a missed call when it comes down to Welly trying to throw their life away. It really puts a lot of faith for the rest of the Bearclaw members to hold over towards P1. Scrappy will spawn over there, and he'll actually take down 2 on the rotation, so hold on a second. Vickle's able to work their way on the backside of grass. Welly will cut them down, but you don't have the numbers of your Bearclaw for this hard point yet.
Yeah, you're relying on individual plays at this point. One's like Mohawk in from behind. He has actually just spotted out Exotic. It would be a big kill to make. Exotic trying to hunt him down. Of course, might have a different 1v1 to take on, but while all those are going down towards that side of grass, now it's one-dimensional. Welly is taken down. For Ultra Academy, you don't really have the time to think about this one. You just kind of have to run up the hill and hope that you do hit something in your favor. Scrap and Hixie going to combine for 2 here. Bearclaw Esports being denied this time for now. Ultra, they're not giving up. They just need to survive this initial hit, and they will. And now, a crucial moment in this game. 1 more hit for Bearclaw Esports. They could still finish it here, but if they don't, they might want to start thinking about the rotation, Andy.
There's just no reason to try to hit it into 1. You're walking into a blender, and that blender's name is Hixie. He will find 2 through the middle of the map, and the rotation won't be there. Ultra Academy have the closer spawns. They're down by 30 points, which is a considerable amount, but Bearclaw are spawning all the way out in Narnia. They got to work their way all the way across the map. Ultra have to read where the hit's coming from.
I mean, they could survive 1 hit, right, and Bearclaw will spawn out. This is a crucial moment for Bearclaw Esports. They kind of have to do this now. It's a delayed push from Radial while the rest spawn in the backline, but Mohawk picks up 2, and now you're looking a little bit shaky if you're Bearclaw. They have managed to flip the spawns. Nicely done from Bearclaw Esports, but the hit has to come in now. Radial from Radio, able to pick up 2. Can Ultra put a stop to this one? Hixie on 6 will be denied the glide bomb once again. Bearclaw Esports not in for the time. Exotic, he's going to sit here. Mohawk knows knows he needs to hit the hill. He will now try to find his way in, and it's chaos inside the hardpoint. Hixie, can he do anything? No, he cannot. Welly and Noisy will put the nail in the coffin that is this game, and Bear Claw Esports send us to a map number 5.
Oh my goodness. I'm just happy to be here, Brody. Look, that was I was ready to write off Ultra Academy all the way through the tail end of that second set of hardpoints, but that battle through P5 was massive for the implications and making sure that they fully read. Bear Claw were setting way too many numbers over towards P5, and Scrappy finding those 2 on the rotation was big to almost set up for a snowball potential to be able to close out that game, but it'll be a map 5 regardless. Map 4 here, though, for our main focus, UYU versus 18 and Cracked, after UYU's amazing efforts on being able to close out offensive rounds on Gavutsu control. Will remain here on the venue, but the game mode has changed. Now it's down to hardpoint, where UYU have a blistering start to the game.
Yeah, mate, I'm not gonna lie. I know you've told me not to, but you know, I've been drinking a lot of Monster recently, a lot of energy drinks. My heart is racing right now, and it isn't because of the energy drink. It's because of how incredible those last few moments of that Tuscan hardpoint were. But regardless, we could be in for another thriller here. Of course, 18 and Cracked. They've now faced some resistance from UYU in that control, and it's been a solid start for a UYU in this one as well. But Classic, well, his MP40 really starting to warm up here on this Gavutsu, and this is a really scary position, actually. You've got to imagine for UYU, right? They're spawning out over towards the radar station. There's 35 seconds left this time. You might well give this one up to 18 and Crack, but as we say that, Johnny picks himself up a couple of kills. Shawnee, is he prepared to deal with it? No, he is not. UYU find their way on through for the last 20.
UYU are starting to find their strides. Look at Rex, 6 and 2 to start things off, 5 and 3 out of Phantoms. Cousins putting in the work together. They have been definitely deficitated as far as what their peak has been looking like. Definitely want to do better than second place. They want to take it all here in Season 2. But when it comes down to the rotation, 18 and Cracked are in initially for the spawns. You got to be careful of some of the positioning. Classic will spot out Phantoms up top. That would have been a big position advantage for Phantoms if they maintained it. But as soon as Classic does get gunned by Rex in their Rat Pistol, it's Assault that's right there to pick things up. But now the hits coming through from bottom green. The pinch play might end up being fully effective if UYU can get in the back.
Good amount of time on the plate here for 18 and Crack. Stomach all of it. An Assault on top of the ring will be pretty important. I think power position for 18 and Crack to maintain. Of course, playing Ring Around the Rosie with him is going to be Jintroid. Jintroid going to win out in that particular one-on-one. With 30 seconds left here, I think 18 and Cracked, they know they've probably got the remainder of the scrap time, and they might even have a look in towards the rotation as well. Classic 40 get a little bit cheeky and try to make the play. He envisioned himself in the top 10 plays from Clutch from this week. Didn't find it there, though, on the rotation, and I think UYU, they're strapping themselves in for this rotation. With 10 seconds left, though, 18 and Cracked, they'll be more than happy with their position in this game right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 18 and Cracked, seemingly off of the handful of seconds that they got off of P2, walk away with about a whole 50, if not 60, off of P3, Brody. They were almost uncontested. 79 v 65. UYU now spawning in towards that North Beach side. Got Phantoms on top of the Radio Shack, just gunning everybody before they can even think about getting inside the hill. But Shawnee will be right there to cut them down. It's going to open up an opportunity for the pinch play to come into an effect over down by the Jungle Walk.
Still feeling the pressure here. Both of these teams, realistically. Johnny inside. What can you do, buddy? Well, this is what you can do, Johnny! Oh, my goodness me. Just a reminder, by the way, this is the map I'm pretty sure that he went on like a 15 spree yesterday, so this is just not surprising whatsoever to see Johnny do just Johnny things. He's looking for another 5. Assault will gun him down. Nonetheless, though, Johnny pivotal in holding the last few seconds here for this UYU squad. 18 and Crack, though, they're not actually giving up. They're still sending players towards this hardpoint. I'll tell you what, I don't doubt why. That might have been a bit of a mistake, though. Shawnee gets overbearing on scrap time. The rest of his teammates now spawn in, and UYU, well, they'll be happy to get the rotation towards new. That said, Classic might be able to play spoiler pretty early on here, Andy.
Yeah, Classic was able to find that first. They actually picks up a dropped Automaton, and now the spawns might actually be in a very questionable position because it's going to set up a pinch play. You can see all where 18 and Crack are spawning in at the bottom side of that arch rock. And Classic is still not dealt with, by the way. They're finessing inside of top green. And they find Jintroid. The hit from the front's going to be successful as Shawnee and Exceed. They couple on together for 3 kills in a row for 18 and Crack. The break is in with some sufficient time still left in here in P5.
Shawnee was stopped just 1 kill shy of a glide bomb. Classic, of course, now stopped 2. So UIU going to survive that brush with streak death, as it were, and no streaks given away towards this UIU or the 18 and Crack side. Exceed now. We're going to build up some streaks of his own, though. This would be the 3rd attempt for 18 and Cracked on Gavutu. Those streaks are deadly, or I should just say streak at this point, shouldn't I? Considering the glide bomb is the only one that gets used in current form. That said, we're looking on board with Assault as the next rotation does come around. Looking to play some serious gunfights on this anti-air gun. He will pick up 2. Classic and Shawnee join him in the endeavor as well. And now for 18 and Crack, look at this push out from both of those players. Classic and Assault finding their way on towards the beaches. It's just keeping UIU at bay at the moment.
Gotta be able to try to bounce back if you are UIU. Detroit's 8, 17. Not a whole lot of hardpoint time to even speak of. Needs to get activated here. 18 and Cracked are just living up to the latter half of their name. They are cracked, to say the least. Classic has come alive in the past few instances of that first set of hardpoints, and it's really enabled the rest of 18 and Cracked to be able to play that fundamental style that we have seen them play all throughout Season 1 into this very moment of time. Being able to get themselves superior positioning. Now the rotation is starting to come all the way through. Assault is able to find 2. Going to open up things wonderfully for 18 and Crack to try to sequence P1 into 2.
Well, indeed it will. Exceed now. Gonna bear his auto down. Looking for 3. Almost gets a little bit snappy there onto Gintroid, but it will not come to pass. Gintroid now on top of the LST. This is a good position, I think, for UIU to be in. A good opportunity to get a large amount of time off the back of this hill. Gintroid needs to do a little bit of work up top here, though, and unfortunately will fall. Shawnee going to be the one to take him down. Nicely done by Shawnee as well to swing wide and take out another in the mid-map. Shawnee continuing now on this little crusade. 18 and Crack find their way on through. 35 seconds left here. There's still quite a lot of time to fight over between these two teams. And Gintroid, well, he comes through, picks up 2, and will still continue the fight quite positively for this UIU side.
Got to be able to get a sufficient break that you would feel for UIU. There it finally comes, but it's only 20 seconds, and it's a battle on 2 different fronts. You can see what the setup is mostly looking like for UIU, and Assault is actually hitting for scrap time here to be able to clean up Rex. And this is time that UIU desperately needed, but they also need to make sure that 18 and Crack don't get set up for P3. You remember the first set, Brody, when things were all evened up, 18 and Crack were able to find a full 60 down here on P3 again, and being able to just find that 1 kill for Classic, staying alive, will be able to maintain their spawns with their team for now.
Yeah, Phantom's dying there is huge, of course, because if he stays alive, that makes a big play. 18 and Cracked might find themselves in a little bit of danger. They still might, though. Gintroid on towards the point. He will end up falling. UIU continue to pressurize this hill, and they are in. Now, you can fight this from the front. This is absolutely possible. We've seen it time and time again in the CDL, time and time again in Challengers Elite. Teams are really starting to get a handle on this map, but all this utility being thrown Rex's way, he can't really deal with it, will crack under the pressure. Now UIU just reduced down to the 2 players on towards the point. Phantom's the only one in there collecting time. Gintroid over towards the anti-air gun, and now if you're 18 and Cracked, you face a choice. You don't really want to give that scrap timer away, or sorry, UIU, you're facing a choice, so you don't really want to give the scrap time away. 18 and Cracked are going to be giving this one up. It is now going to be UIU in for this next rotation, Andy. Big moment here in this game. You cannot afford to be broken now.
Yeah, it took the words right out of my brain, man. It's one of those things that UIU were able to do sufficiently on holding from the front, but they have to read where the hit's coming from. And they only had Johnny on top LSC with an MP40. So they see 1, and they're able to take down that 1, but the rest of the team was all there in kind. The hit is coming through the jungle walk, Brody. 18 Crack looking to break. But UIU holding these closer spawns. Going to be trying to set up them a little bit of a pinch. Gintroid should have a little bit of an opportunity here, but is actually taking this as a chance to fully trust Johnny and Gintroid, who find 4 in the feed quickly like that. Will send all of 18 and Crack packing over towards the LST ship. But 18 and Crack, obviously, with 25 seconds remaining, don't exactly want UIU to get too comfortable inside P4. They could break this one more time, set themselves up for a little bit of a spawn trap.
The next hardpoint is significantly easier to break than this one. We will say that much, right? So I think for UIU, they're pretty comfortable in this position. They will take the lead away if they get every single second of this hill. 18 and Crack still spawning close towards rocks as well. There is a genuine chance here that 18 and Crack might let a couple of UIU players slip the net, but as I said, Assault, he is much more vigilant than that over towards the anti-air gun. He's able to pick up a couple of kills. Johnny will pick up 1. The journey for UIU on this rotation will begin. It is 18 and Crack, though, that start to collect this time, Andy.
Yeah, they'll be here first. It was their break last time that really set things ablaze, and they can technically still win it here if they are uncontested. UIU coming from the LST ship. They know they don't have to worry about the pinch because they already dealt with Phantoms, and look at all these power positions Adam Assault is feasting.
DD is inside green. Assault is a problem that UIU will have to deal with sooner rather than later, and I don't think they can at this point in time. They do have one secret weapon, Phantoms. Can he do anything? No, they cannot. Assault is shredding at the moment. He wants to get this game done in 4, and I think he might well get that wish. There is only a couple of players who can still do anything about this. Rex will be the closest. Somebody needs to get inside the hard point now, but Rex gets turned, burned, twisted, and mangled inside the hill. Just 2 seconds away from victory. Are 18 and cracked, and they are broken. We will be going towards the next set of rotations. Shawnee is in, deals with the first player, deals with the second as well, and 18 and cracked, able to put a lid on this game, a lid on this series in game number 4.
I mean, that's just massive for a multitude of reasons. Again, when we're talking about this 18 and crack roster comparatively to where they were last season at the beginning, where they are now, they did start off yesterday 0-2 heading in towards today's matches. And well, with their matchup earlier, I believe that they ended up facing Strike X, that is Gunzy and co. And they were able to walk away with that win. So now they find themselves 2-2. And I saw on Twitter earlier that's exactly what they knew needed to have happen, right? You don't want to be down 0-4 going in towards the second week. Otherwise, you find yourself into those permutations that basically your destiny leading into playoffs is in everybody's hands. So being able to showcase their strength and their ability to be able to take down UIU, not only in that search and destroy on Berlin, where I truly thought that UIU were going to have the upper edge, but playing down to their fundamentals on these hard points, being able to guarantee themselves 1-4, specifically when it came down to a lot of those money hills like what we saw on Tuscan, specifically on P3, and then that hold that we saw on P5 and P3 within the first and then the second set of hard points. That's what makes this team so deadly. It is only going to be up from here from 18 and crack. They face the other top 4 teams to start off Season 2 for us, Brody, and for the rest of the time, it's just about making sure that all the practice manifests the strength that we know that this team can live up to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 18 and cracked, that they came in with a challenge today, right? Now that their series are done, they were 0-2 coming into today, and they knew they needed to win these series. And this one especially, I think, was going to be tough for them. UIU, though, they presented a challenge. Fair play to them. I think we came into the series asking a question of UIU, though, right? It was kind of like, are they any better now that they've made a change at the end of the day? I don't necessarily think we have a full answer to that question. I think we've still got to see a little bit more of UIU. I still think, regardless, though, they will be disappointed with today, especially their earlier loss versus Bearclaw, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that loss versus Bearclaw is going to be very frustrating. Look, UIU are probably telling themselves that it's Bearclaw Esports, right? We can absolutely take down this team if we just keep our heads down and just grind on forward. But when we talk about the differences in between UIU and Season 1 and where they are now, not that I enjoy specifically just talking in between two different players, but losing Scrappy genuinely hurts UIU in the strength that they once ended up having, because not to say that Jinshred is a bad player, but when it comes down to Vanguard, specifically in hardpoints, specifically in control and search and destroy, you have to have these individuals that can fulfill the role to such a T that you know that the rest of the players just have to be able to hold their angles and their crosses. And the search and destroy, albeit looked great for UIU. Even earlier, they won that round 11 on Tuscan versus Bearclaw, but then they got absolutely milliwatt on the Bocot search and destroy 6-1. It does show the differences in what the rest of the players for this team have to essentially do to put themselves in a position to be able to win out these maps. Losing Scrappy as the sniper definitely says something for what UIU has to do. And we always end up talking this about UIU, specifically about Phantoms and Dylan Rex. Last season, Rex had to fulfill main AR. They had to fulfill a sniper position. They had to fulfill an SMG position. All over the place while they were trying to find these other two players. And the same thing is still going to exist for them. It's going to be interesting to see how UIU look to turn it around. But congratulations to 18 and Crack for having a very successful day, too.
Indeed, 18 and cracked will be very happy with their day number 2. But we are turning our attention now towards Ultra Academy going head-to-head with Bearclaw in a game number 5. Now, I kind of alluded to this earlier on, Andy. Bearclaw have already taken down one Titan, per se. I still think I would describe Toronto Ultra Academy NA as a Titan team, if you will. I mean, you look at the players on their roster, they most certainly, you think they would be, right? For Bearclaw to get both of these victories today, it would mean, I think, the world for them.
This is the map mode combo that Bearclaw actually 6-1'd. Completely put all of UIU on skates earlier. It would be massive, absolutely. I mean, you got Scrappy over here, Hixie, Mohawk, Challenger champion, by the way. And Pickle. Would be a massive win for them on the offense, though. Here comes Bearclaw. Immediately looking towards that tank formation, but Noisy is playing that island play, seeing if they can catch any players off guard. The only player that's over here defensively for B will be Scrappy.
Pixie, did he see Radial running right across towards the alley? Even if he does, he has to be careful here in the cross. It would be a bit of a ballsy play to try and make this one happen. Now he's getting targeted by Welly, looking to play his life, but it is all but a bait for Vickle to come in from behind. Can he get any more than the first kill? No, he cannot. But elsewhere, Scrappy has made this an advantageous position for Ultra Academy. And now Exotic 1 versus 3. Perhaps the most veteran player in this lobby. What can he do here in this position? I think more to the point, the big problem for Exotic here is that bomb is about as far away from him as you could possibly get.
Generally, I mean, it has to be communicated that Scrappy is on 5, if not close to it. It will be Mohawk that cuts them down there at the very end, but even still, you're getting dangerously close to streaks now if you're Ultra Academy from these rounds that they are starting to piece together for themselves. They're starting to get it together, and it's an interesting conversation itself, too. You remember Bear Claw from Season 1, they actually had one of the best differentials from a losing team on Hardpoint. Their search and destroys and controls were always close as these 3 players, Noisy, Radial, and Welly, all of them just play tons of search and destroy together, and they end up dropping Coach Moach for Exotic. You would assume that it would be a little bit more of his strength, but Welly needs to start pulling their weight, threatening to join the agency in a moment's time. Definitely in a scary spot to be as Ultra Academy on their offense are trying to get into Grandma's very aggressively.
Look at this bomb going down for Ultra Academy. They want to get this one done and out of the way quickly. Of course, Scrap will be pretty careful about the fact he's got straight. Oh, Scrap! He gets that first kill. Can he get the second? No, he can't. Big shutdown here from Noisy. Now the numbers heavily bearing in the favor of Bearclaw Esports. Mohawk will end up falling. What a crucial round for Bearclaw Esports. You don't let Ultra Academy get the win there in round number 7. You don't let the streaks go the way here of that player.
Absolutely. I mean, that one kill on a Scrappy was a big win for 2 different things. And you said the first was, of course, being the streaks that were starting to be accrued by Scrappy. But more importantly than that, that is the winning position to be able to find yourself some timing to be able to absolutely blow up the play going back in towards that site. But even more so than that, Bearclaw just completely conceded all the space. Look, they knew exactly what we were talking about, that they had players on the WT that were dangerously close to streaks. You don't want to be feeding away first bloods. They just wait for the timing for the bomb to go down, and they just collapse on all the positionings that were necessary, especially that player top Grandma's. We'll have to see. It's a momentum swing now into round number 8, playing this very methodically across the tank formation. You can see Exotic as well, even quick glimpse through the X-ray. They are all the way across on the backside of the tin spawns, just waiting for any sort of information to see if Ultra Academy give themselves an unforced error.
Oh, they're not going to. Ultra Academy. Beautifully done for the first blood. There is an immediate trade, though, coming on through. Noisy does take down Scrappy, but Vickle remains unscathed. If anything, it's just scared Bearclaw off momentarily, hasn't it? They do have their secret weapon of Noisy in from behind, but they don't need Noisy. They just need Radial. Now looking for the aces, Vickle.
Wow.
He will be denied, and Bearclaw, they just look like such a well-put-together roster. They find themselves one S&D round away from going 2-0 in a very important day of Challengers Elite for this roster.
I mean, it's the information trade, isn't it, Brody, right there? I mean, even, we all can't see the mini-map, but I mean, all 4 players for Ultra Academy, once they end up finding a lack of information in the middle of the map, nobody pushing through the river walk, they all end up stacking over by the water wheel, and then flood their way up through the patio into the blunder. Bearclaw Esports, it just came down to the confirmation. Look, all 4 players are here. Does everybody look at this one angle and just try to get a couple trades across the board? The first, and then soon after the second, just was a numbers advantage too quickly, especially when you ended up having Exotic all the way in the back, just waiting for that last player to cross. Now Ultra Academy, a big round needs to be converted here. They are slowing up the pace considerably. Got players inside a barn, over by tools as well, waiting for players to try to reveal themselves. But Bearclaw are giving them absolutely nothing, so they had to find it. Nice nade from Hixie.
And you can feel the levity in this round, can't you? Ultra Academy playing this one slow as you like, but how quick about this from Bearclaw to turn this round on its head. They had the numbers, Ultra Academy, and let me tell you something, now they most certainly do not. And now going to have to rethink this round with not a lot of time to do it. Just 40 seconds on the clock to get the bomb down or eliminate the numbers of Bearclaw and survive the brush with death. And as for Bearclaw at the moment, I still think this might be an A plant. Exotic will make the call if he does see these players. Now Hixie's going to go for it.
It's delayed timing. Noisy's going to come check this.
Oh, how quickly do they get away? Hixie does not. Fickle doesn't either. And Noisy, he's letting him know. Yep, see you later, buddy. Bearclaw. I tell you what, normally I'm a little bit skeptical of body shots. I think in this situation,
Jesus.
Bearclaw, they can celebrate all they like.
It's a ceremony out here. Bullets and bodies. Good lord. Look, again, when it comes down to Bearclaw as a full-on team, the amount of search and destroy that they all play is immaculate. But the one thing that really does speak volumes above everything else is how good is Tyler Noisy at keeping his damn life. He finds the first, takes sufficient damage. You would assume that a trade would come through. Bokash isn't exactly a massive map, and he just gets out scot-free. And from there on out, they're watching mid-map in a 3v2. Okay, no information, no bullets coming astray. Nobody's pushing down here over by B as well. So now we just got to play the timing. About like 25, 30 seconds remaining in the round. And Noise is just like, oh, I know exactly where they're at, man. I'm just going to go immediately burst through the door. He finds Vickle trying to get out of dodge with his running mate of Hixie. And the moment you know Hexie needs to challenge it, needs to find that trade to try to keep the play alive, Noisy just absolutely guns him down through the floorboards. It's impressive to say the least, because we've always known that Bearclaw have this potential, and they could not live up to it through Season 1. Them to be able to find their strides. A massive win versus UIU earlier. They will end this day today 2-0. That's just impressive within its own self.
They're 4-0 as well, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've lost a series yet. I'm not too sure who they played on day number 1 and 2, but yeah, Bearclaw, they are looking like a serious threat right now.
Strike
and
X,
it's kind of
Stallions,
funny.
UIU, and now
okay.
here too, Ultra Academy, dude. They're proving their
It's
worth,
tough.
man.
It is. And that 4-0 will put them in a really good position to qualify for playoffs. However, I think the thing we should note here, and this isn't really to come in, I'm not a party pooper, okay? I don't normally, come in and ruin people's parties and such. I'm not that kind of person, right? I'm a happy person. That said, they still have to face quite a few threats here, right? Yeah, all right, fine. They've got through UIU, but you've still got, 18 in crack? They've still got whatever it takes, and they've still got Texas Nation. If my process of elimination is correct, it's not failing me right now. That is a horrendous run-in to try and finish off the stage. I mean, talking about getting yourself to the harder boss fights, I don't know which one of those three are final boss at the moment. Probably Texas Nation if I had to pick anybody, but it's going to be tough. I think that much is undoubted in my mind. But credit where credit is due, man. Bearclaw, they look really good at the moment, and they have certainly put themselves in the conversation, perhaps even guaranteed a spot in playoffs. I'm not too sure yet. I haven't had a chance to look at all the permutations and stuff. But Andy, mate, what a series there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we hopped in every so often because, again, our main focus was UIU and 18 and crack, which was a banger to say the least. But, I mean, this Bearclaw esports roster, much like how I was saying earlier, us as casters and analysts of the game, when you think about these players, specifically for Noisy and Welly, have always been on the, I guess, on the cusp. Even when they were playing last year, actually, funny enough, under the UIU banner with Rory, with Cruz, funny enough, they always ended up finding at least like the pace and the strides to be able to put themselves to be a championship caliber team. That it was just maybe a few hops away from finding themselves those other two players. And now you get longtime S&D wager homie of Chris Radial. They are coming in towards the season to play with Noisy. They have a amazing opening match against UIU on the main broadcast where he drops 50 kills in the Tuscan control. And say what you will, look, Mochilla, much love for the guy, but he wasn't living up to the ability of which we know that this team could definitely find the help out for the fourth. And now you bring in Exotic, former Team Canada player. It can honestly be the catalyst that this team needs as a main AR to sit back and watch these three twisted individuals just run amok throughout the entirety of these maps.
Yeah, look, the last thing I'll say about Bearclaw Esports before we move the conversation on and close out the stream here is that, we knew that Bearclaw, they had potential, right? I mean, if you kind of cast your mind back all the way to Stage 1 qualifiers, I believe they were the ones that were able to, I think it was take out Texas Nation, right, in the upper bracket. And that, from that moment on, it's like, well, clearly this team has a lot of potential. It was just a case of translating that towards Stage 1 success. They weren't able to do that back then. Now, they look like a different beast, but they have to get better because next week is going to be a grueler for this team. As we said, 3 teams that are not going to take it easy on them in the fight for qualification for playoffs, and that goes for a number of teams. What a massive couple of days of Call of Duty has been here for North America and for Europe as well. Andy, before we close things out here, any final words about the games we've seen today?
Ultra Academy got to turn their game around, man. I'm not happy with what Ultra Academy are bringing to the table so far. Just struggling to be able to close out hard points. The second week is going to set up a lot of interesting narratives and storylines for where a lot of these teams are going to be standing or sitting, I guess. I don't know many Call of Duty pros that actually play the game standing. So it's going to be interesting to say the least, because UIU, they need to be able to come back in towards into form. Losing both their games today is going to put themselves in a very tough rut. 18 and Crack were able to win their 2 games today. Texas Nation, still probably the best team that we have here in North America, but until we get them versus Bear Claw, I'm not settled on it. I'm just happy to be able to see some very close and some very good competitive Call of Duty coming out of North America.
Yeah, absolutely. North America is competitive as ever. You love to see it, and it wouldn't be Call of Duty without upsets like this one. Bear Claw proving themselves to be a significant force. Whether that can carry through to week 2 is yet to be seen. And speaking of week 2, well, of course, we'll be back with more Call of Duty next Tuesday. I think we're even having some Call of Duty this weekend, right, with some cup coverage. Not entirely sure yet of how that is going to work. But, of course, for all additional Call of Duty challenges action, make sure you're subscribed to the ClutchGG channel. We're providing so much challenges coverage this season, and of course it goes without saying, pop over towards youtube.com/COD challenges for all of the official broadcast as well. The lovely gents of I Hold Shift and Visions were over there casting their hearts out at some Call of Duty games. Of course, Spaceman and Dream Crazy also casting Stage 2. Go support that channel, support challenges, guys. We'll be seeing you again for Challenges Elite on English is hard sometimes, on Tuesday. I'll see you then.